Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nishithav. I would love for you guys to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get this bridal brown shimmery smoky eye. One of you requested that I film this video and I finally got around to do it. In this video, along with this brown smoky eye, I'm also going to share with you guys some tips and tricks that work really well, which will ensure that your makeup lasts for a really long time on your wedding day. So if you guys want to know how I got this look and all the tips and tricks that I recommend, then stay tuned. So first we're going to start off with the eyes. I'm taking the Jaclyn Hill palette, and first I'm going to go into this yellow shade right here. This is going to be, oh, by the way, I totally forgot to prime my eyes. I mean, I did prime this one, but this one. So I'm going to use my Urban Decay primer portion. And I'm just going to use my fingers to blend it out. So going back to the palette, first I'm going to take this yellow shadow right here. This is not going to show up much once we put down all the other color, but it's going to act as a really nice transition. So I'm using a fluffy brush like this. I'm just going to put this pretty much everywhere. You can actually totally skip this part, but I don't know, I like doing this, layering things. And now I'm gonna go into this shade right here, the one that is next to the yellow one. And I'm going to put this pretty much on top of the yellow shadow. One more tip that I like to do is I like to take a small mirror like this, just any small mirror would do. Like, go really close to your eyes so you can actually see if everything is looking the way that you want it to. Just blend it even more. I usually like to have one small mirror in my hand and one big mirror in front of me. So this one I can go really close and look really up close to what I'm putting down. And in the bigger mirror, I can see how the eyeshadows are looking overall. Now I'm going to go into this shade right here. And I'm taking like more of a tapered brush for this. This is the Morphe R39. I'm going to mainly concentrate this color in my socket and blend it upwards, but I'm also going to make sure that this color doesn't go past the previous transition shade that I applied. I'm going to intensify the crease even more, so I'm going to take this burgundy shade right here on a small tapered brush like this. This is the e.l.f. Crease brush. So I'm going to take this and concentrate this only in my socket. Always like to start with the outer edge of my eye and then drag the product inside as I blend it. I'm going to take the second brush that I took. So I'm just going to take this and soften out the edges even more. As you can see, I'm using a really light hand because you don't want to move around the eyeshadows a lot. You just want to blend out the edges. So having a mirror really up close help you see where you're actually blending. Next, I'm going to take this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil, and this is in the shade dark brown. I'm just going to draw lines. I'm going to keep this closer to my lash line and then just use my fingers to blend it out. This is going to act as a nice base for the shimmery shadows that I'm going to put on top. But you want to make sure you apply just a little bit at a time. If you apply too much, the pencil is going to dry down and then you won't be able to blend it out. Now that I've put the base down, I'm going to take this shadow right here. I'm just going to use my fingers for this. Then I decided that this shade is not shimmery enough for me. So I'm going to take this brown shade from the Morphe 35 OS palette. I'm going to apply this wherever I applied the previous shade. And I'm using the Bodyography Pro flat shader brush for this. When I do this, I also like to carve out my crease. And now I'm going to take a Morphe M507 Take this matte brown shade right here, and I'm gonna blend out the edges of the shimmery shadow that I just applied. Again, I'm using a really light hand. This is gonna make sure that there are no harsh edges. And now I'm gonna take the same brown shadow and I'm gonna apply this on my lid wherever the shimmery shadow ended. Now to intensify the outer corners even more, I'm gonna take the matte black shadow on the same brush, and I'm going to concentrate this mainly on the outer V. Right. When working with dark shadows like this, you really want to make sure that you're not applying a lot of product. Work slowly, slowly build the color up. That way you can have more control and you can blend the shadows much better. And when I do that, I'm also making sure that both my eyes are looking similar. Now I'm gonna take the brush that I used before. This has the third transition color on it. I'm just going to blend out the edges. So now I'm gonna quickly apply some Ardell Demi Wispies off camera, and I'm gonna be right back. Make sure you find lashes that are actually gonna complement your eye shape, not something that is gonna cover your entire eyes. It can look really heavy and not flattering sometimes. You can do without lashes. I would highly recommend that rather than having lashes that are going to overpower your entire eye. Once I apply my falsies, I like to take an eyeliner brush and use a black gel liner. This is a pretty vulgar. I got this in my BoxyCharm. That's the only reason that I use it, because otherwise I would never pay this much for an eyeliner. You can use the Maybelline one from the drugstore. It's just as good. So I'm just going to use this since I already have it. I'm just going to go over the lash band. So I want to disguise it. So moving on to the face, first you want to make sure that you moisturize your skin. Skin prep is really important. So always use your favorite moisturizer that you know that will work well for you. If it's the wedding day, I would highly recommend you not to try any new products. Just use the products that you know that will work for you, the products that you trust. So I use this vitamin C, it's from Body Shop. It's the Glow Boosting Moisturizer. I really love this. Underneath makeup, it doesn't disrupt the makeup and also adds a really nice hydration to the skin. I'm also going to apply some lip balm to prep them. This is the Smith's Minted Rose Lip Balm. Now, moving on to the primer, this step is really important as well. What I would recommend is if you have large pores or if you have oily T-zone, try using a pore minimizing or a mattifying primer just in those areas. So I'm going to take this Cover FX Blurring Primer and I'm just going to apply this. This is a really matte primer. So I like to use this wherever I tend to get a little bit of sweaty, especially on my nose, on my chin, basically in the T-zone. For the rest of my face, I'm going to use my Pixi Hydrating Milky Mist. So at this point, I would recommend you to do any color correcting if you need it. If you have extreme under eye circles or if you have hyperpigmentation around your mouth, try and use a color corrector. Smashbox makes a really good one. I'm going to show you guys. I have one. Yeah, this pencil right here. This is really good. And moving on to the foundation, I'm going to take my Maybelline Super Stay Foundation. This I really love and I know will last a really long time on my skin. So like I said, use the products that you trust. So I'm going to use this one, take about one pump on the back of my hand. And since I'm a lot tanned right now, I'm going to mix in my Cover FX custom covered drops. And this is in the shade G80. I also want to make my foundation and my skin look really glowy. So I'm taking Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Radiance drops and I'm going to mix this in this. So the key for a perfect looking base is using really less product. Use only a little bit and just blend it out first, and if you need it you can add more, but make sure you go in with very little amount at first, because if you apply too much it can look cakey. It might look good in pictures, but since it's your wedding day you want to make sure that your makeup is looking in person as well, or add a little bit at a time if you actually need it. And drag that onto your neck as well. Apply the foundation wherever you know that your neck is going to be seen, and onto your ears as well. If you're going to have a destination wedding, or if you're going to travel somewhere to get married, definitely make sure you carry more than one shade of your favorite foundation. Because if it's sunny, you might get tan in just one day, and if you apply the foundation that is too light than your skin tone, it's definitely going to look ashy. So definitely make sure you carry a deeper shade than your actual skin tone. I use the CoverFX custom drops because they're very handy and useful. You can deepen up the foundation using these. So if you don't want to buy two different shades of the same foundation, CoverFX custom drops are a great option. It's one of the best purchases that I ever made. And now for concealer, I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Tan Sand. I know that this concealer lasts a really long time, so for weddings this would be a perfect option. So applying just a little bit of that. Then again using my same beauty blender to blend this out. So now that I've covered the dark circles, I want to highlight my skin a little bit. So I'm using this Makeup Forever concealer in the shade number 10. I did a full-blown dedicated review to this concealer. I'll leave a card up here if you want to check it out. But this is a few shades lighter than my skin tone. So I'm just going to use this to brighten furthermore underneath my eyes. And using the beauty blender to blend everything out. Before moving on to the next steps, there is one more step that I like to do. I take my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is a really good setting spray to make your foundation last a really long time. So I spritz my beauty blender with this a little bit. And I'm just gonna take the beauty blender and go over my entire base. This is going to lock your foundation in place. If you have any other cream products that you want to apply, now is the good time. If you want to apply liquid highlighter, go ahead and apply. I like powder highlighters more than liquid highlighters. So if you have any cream products that you want to apply, apply right now. Now I'm going to take my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. So this step is optional. If you have dry under eyes, I would highly recommend you avoid this step because it definitely is going to look cakey and heavy underneath the eyes. But I'm going to do a little bit of baking. If you have dry under eyes issue, do not use this much of powder. Just take a little bit and use your same damp sponge and press everything in. But use a little bit of powder. So while that is still on there, I'm going to do a little bit of contouring. I'm going to take my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour palette. I personally think contouring is a really important step because you're going to do a lot of photography. So you want to add extra dimension to your face. So in photos, your face doesn't look flat. I'm going to take these two shades and contour my cheekbones. So apply the powder and blend it into your hairline. And I like to put this on my jawline as well. I'm gonna go into the first cool tone shade and I'm gonna contour along my nose. I'm gonna use a bronzer on top. I'm taking my Take Home the Bronze Anti-Orange Bronzer from the Balm Cosmetics. And I'm taking the same contour brush that I used and slightly bronze up my skin, just to warm up the face a little bit. I'm not baking my smile lines because this particular foundation does not settle in my smile lines. But if you have issues with your foundation settling into your smile lines, just dab a little bit. Once there are no creases, go ahead and apply the powder and let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes and then kick off the powder. Moving on to blush, I'm going to take my Essence Satin Touch Blush and this is in the shade Satin Coral. And I'm going to apply this right above where I applied my contour. I'm going to put this on my nose as well just to add some color there. Now I'm going to work on the lower lash line. I'm going to go back into the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. And I'm going to take this shade right here. And I'm going to run that along my lower lash line. If you have fine lines or anything, using an eyeshadow will really help. It's going to cover all of your fine lines. But just make sure you don't go overboard. This is a lighter color, so that's why I can be really generous with this. But the darker the shadow gets, the closer you want to keep the eyeshadow. After that, I'm gonna use the brown shadow, but I'm gonna keep this closer to the lash line. And I'm gonna mainly concentrate this on my outer V. Now I'm going to take the matte black shadow on the same pencil brush and concentrate this on the outer V as well, but I'm going to go even closer to the lash line. And I also like to join this eyeshadow up. Then I'm going to take this brown liner. This is from the Balm Cosmetics. It's their Mr. Right liner in the shade Seymour Love Letters. And I'm going to tight line. I'm going to go back in with the pencil brush and blend the eyeliner with the eyeshadow so it looks nice and smoky. So now I'm going to finish off the eyes with some mascara to the lower lashes. This is Pixi by Petra Lower Lash Mascara. This has a tiny nice little wand which is really easy to use on your lower lash line. I'm going to use the Pixi Hydrating Milky Mist and apply it all over my face. This will help melt all the powders that you applied into your skin. While the setting spray still dries down, I'm going to apply my highlighter. This is the Ofra Rodeo Drive highlighter. And I'm going to apply this just on the high points of my cheeks to add a nice glow. But I'm not going to go really overboard because I don't want it to be too much. I totally forgot to apply the brow bone highlight. So I'm just going to go back into that Rodeo Drive highlight. And I'm going to slightly highlight underneath. And then just use my fingers to soften everything. Moving on to lips, I definitely recommend you use a lip liner because a lip liner is really going to help cover any darkness that you have around your mouth like I do. I'm taking my NYX lip liner in the shade Mahogany and I'm going to line my lips. Now I'm going to use my Girlactik liquid lipstick in the shade Posh. Since there is a lot of drama on the eyes, I like to keep the lips muted down. But I don't like to go really pale because that can make you look a little bit washed out in pictures as well. So one more step I forgot to record was that I applied some Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. This setting spray is really good if you want to elongate the wear of your makeup. And I added some jewelry off camera. The Tikka and the earrings, I got them from India like ages ago. I think it was more than 8 years back. But this choker right here, I'm going to leave a link to her Instagram page in the description box down below. She has some amazing and affordable jewelry. She's India based, so it's going to take a while for you to get the jewelry pieces. But I think it's totally worth the wait because they're very affordable. So I highly recommend you check her Instagram page. And along with that, I'm going to leave a link to all the makeup products that I used in this video in the description box down below like always. I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned some tips and tricks. Hit the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye!